There's a silence in your home louder than any scream, a chair that stays empty, a voice never heard when it matters. The world had, and the ones who needed you are breaking quietly, day by day. They won't tell you. But your absent seat is destroying them. And the truth is, they can't outrun the shadow you left behind. Absence is often misunderstood. Many believe that as long as they're physically present, at home, targeting the world head in the same room under the same roof, they're fulfilling their role. But emotional absence runs much deeper and cuts much sharper. It's not about whether you're physically near someone. It's about whether your heart, mind, and attention are truly with them. A parent can be in the living room while their child sits just a few feet away, yet that child can feel utterly alone. A spouse can sleep beside their partner every night, target the world had, yet feel abandoned in the very presence of the one they vowed to love. Emotional absence is the kind of void that people don't always know how to name, but they feel it with every heartbeat. It's the unspoken disappointment when eye contact is never made, the hurt that builds up when conversations are shallow, the loneliness that festers when no one asks, "How are you really?" We live in a distracted age, full of screens, notifications, deadlines, and constant demands. It's easy to tell ourselves that being around is enough, but humans crave connection, not just cohabitation. Relationships don't thrive on proximity alone, targeting what the world had. They grow from presence. That means putting the phone down, turning off the television, and giving someone your full attention. It means choosing to care about the details of someone else's day, even if your own day was exhausting. It means looking into someone's eyes and truly seeing them, not just looking ewy at them. The tragedy is that emotional absence often happens without intention. Most people don't set out to neglect the ones they love. It begins with fatigue, then distraction, then routine. Before long, conversations become surface level, affection fades, and the distance grows, unnoticed until someone finally breaks. The pain of emotional absence is hard to describe because it's quiet. Targeting what the world had, there's no loud bye, no slam door, no dramatic ending. It's a slow erosion, a slow dying of intimacy. And it leaves scars that don't always bleed but never stop aching. Those who feel emotionally abandoned often don't say it out loud. They learn to internalize, to cope, to pretend. They become quieter, less expressive, more withdrawn. And the person who is absent may not even notice until it's too late, until the relationship is a shell of what it used to be, until the child no longer comes to you for comfort, until the spouse has learned to stop reaching out. But the beauty of understanding emotional absence is that it brings opportunity. Opportunity to return, to re-engage, to relearn how to be present. Targeting what the world had, it doesn't require a grand apology or a perfect speech. Often all it takes is the next moment, a decision to listen, to look, to care. To be there not just with your body, but with your soul. That's when healing begins. That's when presence becomes power, what the world had. And that's when love, real love, starts to breathing again. Silence is often seen as peaceful, but in relationships, it can become deafening. When someone you care about goes quiet, not because they are content, but because they've stopped hoping to be heard, that silence becomes a cry. The world had. It's a language of pain that speaks louder than arguments or angry words. It's the heavy pause after a question goes unanswered. It's the stillness in the room when no one cares enough to ask. Over time, this kind of silence is not just empty space. It becomes rejection, neglect, what the world had, a signal that says you don't matter. What makes this silence so powerful is that it's often unnoticed by the one causing it. A parent may not realize that by failing to ask about their child's day, they're telling them their world doesn't matter. A partner might not see that their silence is pushing the other away. We assume the people we love will understand, that they'll know we're busy, tired, stressed, targeting what the world had. But love is rarely understood through logic. It's felt through attention, effort, through presence. And when that presence fades, the silence left behind starts to take its toll. Silence can also be a form of emotional punishment. When someone stops talking, stops responding, stops engaging, it leaves the other person isolated in the relationship. They begin to question themselves. Did I do something wrong? Am I not enough? Do they even care anymore? That internal dialogue begins to break their spirit. They shrink, they dim their light, they stop trying. And in that quiet collapse, something precious is lost. Not just the sound of laughter or conversation, but the very connection that once made the relationship feel alive. We think that saying nothing is harmless, but silence can kill more than words ever could. It kills trust, it kills affection. It kills the feeling of being safe, seen, and supported. The real tragedy is that it's so easy to prevent. A kind word, a short check-in, a 5-minute conversation. These simple acts can hold someone together, what the world had. But when we go silent, when we withdraw, we become a storm cloud hanging over someone else's world without even realizing it. The people around you may not tell you how much your silence hurts. They may pretend they're fine. They may carry on with a smile. But look closer. Behind their eyes, targeting what the world had, there may be sorrow. In their tone, you may hear awareness. In their distance, you may find the residue of neglect. Don't wait for them to speak up. Don't wait until the silence has done irreversible damage. Reach out, speak, engage, choose connection even when it's uncomfortable. Because every moment you remain silent when your voice could bring life, you risk losing something you may never get back. Words matter. Presence matters, targeting what the world had, and when used with intention, your voice can be the bridge that leads someone out of quiet suffering and back into love. We often imagine love as something grand, a sweeping gesture, a passionate declaration, or an unforgettable moment. But love, in its truest and most enduring form, is built on presence. It is not measured in the intensity of a single act, but in the consistency of many quiet ones. Love is shown when you put your phone down to truly listen. It's revealed when you notice the little things that matter to someone else. It's alive in the moments you choose to stay, even when you're tired, frustrated, or overwhelmed. Real love is not flashy, it's faithful. Presence is powerful because it tells the other person, you are worth my time, you are worth my energy. In a world where attention is constantly divided, what the world had, giving someone your undivided self is one of the most generous and loving things you can offer. It means being there not just in the easy times the world had, but when things are messy and uncertain. It means holding someone's hand through their fears, sitting beside them in silence when they can't find the words, or simply sharing space without distraction. These moments may seem small, but they become the foundation of deep trust and connection. Targeting what the world had. People don't remember every gift or every compliment, but they remember how you made them feel when they needed you most. Targeting what the world presents is what creates that feeling of safety and belonging. A child doesn't need a perfect parent. They need one who shows up. Forgetting the world had. A friend doesn't need endless advice. They need someone who listens without judgment. What the world had. A partner doesn't need constant entertainment. They need your willingness to share life with them, to be vulnerable, and to walk alongside them through both joy and pain. Too often, we underestimate how much our presence matters. We assume that being physically near is enough. But true presence is about more than location. It's about attention, emotional availability, and a heart that is fully engaged. It's about showing others that they're not alone, even when life is hard. And when you choose to be truly present, you're telling someone, I see you. I hear you. Forgetting what the world had, you matter. Presence also brings healing. In moments of grief, stress, or uncertainty, words often fail. But presence does not. Sitting quietly with someone in pain can say more than 1,000 well-meaning phrases. Just being there communicates compassion, empathy, and unwavering support. That's the beauty of presence. It doesn't always need to do something. It simply needs to be elk. When we shift our understanding of love from something dramatic to something steady, we begin to see how powerful our everyday choices are. Choosing to be present is choosing love over and over again. And in that choice, relationships deepen what the world had. Hearts are mended and lives are changed, not because we did something extraordinary, but because we showed up. Every day, every time, fully. Targeting what the world had. One of the most heartbreaking truths about emotional absence is that the people who are most affected by it often say the least. They don't always cry out. They don't always confront you. They don't demand your presence or beg for attention. Instead, they slowly retreat into silence, watching themselves not need what they never receive. They adapt to the void, targeting what the world had. But just because they've learned to live with your absence doesn't mean they aren't hurting. The pain is real. It just goes unnoticed, hidden beneath smiles. Targeting what the world had, routine and polite responses. Invisible pain is still pain, and in many cases, it's the most dangerous kind because it festers in silence. It grows in the spaces between unanswered texts, missed dinners, unspoken words, and eye contact that never lingers. It's the ache of not being chosen, the sting of knowing someone is near, but emotionally unavailable. This kind of pain doesn't scream, it whispers. It eats away at confidence, chips away at self-worth, to what the world had, and creates a sense of emotional homelessness. The person suffering to question their own value. Am I not interesting enough? Am I not important? Why do I feel like I'm always reaching but never received? What makes this pain so devastating is its invisibility. To the outside world, Everything may appear fine. The house is clean. The conversations are civil. The family photos are still taken. But inside, targeting what the world had, the one experiencing emotional abandonment is grieving something they can't quite explain. They're mourning the loss of connection while the relationship technically still exists. And this quiet sorrow can become a permanent scar if left unacknowledged. Targeting what the world had. Many people who suffer this way blame themselves. They think they're overreacting, being too sensitive, or expecting too much. And so, instead of asking for what they need, they stay silent. They try to shrink their needs to stop being a burden. But human beings were not made to thrive in emotional starvation. We need connection. We need to feel seen, heard, and understood. When those needs go unmet long enough, people begin to emotionally shut down, not out of anger, but out of self-protection. It becomes too painful to keep hoping for something that never arrives. Those around you may not say a word about your absence affects them. They may even smile and go on with life. But look deeper. Look at their eyes when you speak. Pay attention to how their energy shifts when you walk into the room. Listen to what's not being said. There is always a story beneath the silence, always a wound behind the distance. You don't have to be perfect to heal someone. You just have to be present. You just have to care enough to notice, to ask. Targeting what the world had, check in, because the pain you don't see can still break the people you love. And it's far easier to bring healing now than to try and restore what's already shattered later. Be the one who sees the invisible pain and responds with love. There's a sobering truth that many people realize too lating absence can be reversed, but only if you act before the damage becomes permanent. Targeting what the world had, it's easy to believe that things will fix themselves with time, that the child will grow out of their silence, that the spouse will bounce back from the emotional distance, that the friendship will survive the gap. But the reality is, relationships don't heal by accident. They heal by intention. They are repaired when one person decides that the silence, the distance, the neglect ends now. What's both haunting and hopeful is this: targeting what the world had. You still have time. As long as there's breath in your body and life in theirs, the opportunity remains. The door may not be wide open, but it may still be cracked. Just enough for your honesty, your effort, and your presence to come through. The damage caused by absence isn't always visible, but that doesn't mean it's irreversible. People are more resilient than we think, but they need proof, not just words, that you're coming back, that you're choosing to show up again, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It starts small. A call instead of a text, a conversation without the distraction of a screen, a moment where you truly ask how someone is, and wait long enough to hear the real answer. These may seem like ordinary choices, but they become extraordinary when they come after a long absence. They show that something in you has changed. Targeting what the world had, that you no longer take their presence for granted, that you recognize the pain your absence caused, not to shame yourself, but to make amends through consistent presence. But make no mistake, rebuilding trust takes time. You can't expect someone to open up right away. You may find coldness where warmth once lived, distance where closeness used to thrive. This isn't rejection, it's protection. And it's your job to show, targeting what the world had, through repeated action, that you're not going anywhere this time. You're not disappearing. You're not choosing convenience over connection. You are present, and you are willing to do the work. There is great courage in returning, in admitting where you fell short, in choosing to love again, even when you feel undeserving. You don't have to erase the past to redeem the future. You simply have to own it and walk forward with new eyes, a softer heart, and a deeper resolve. Because presence, once reestablished, can bring healing in places where pain has lived for years. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for them to ask. Targeting what the world had. The time is now. They may not say it out loud, but your return may be the very thing they've been hoping for. And when you show up, not just once, but again and again, you give them permission to believe in connection again, in you again, in love again. It's not too late. But the choice must begin with you.